Hello and welcome to the show. Before we begin, warning. This is an out and about episode, so expect to hear cars in the background. And there's a tricycle that is parked not far from me, so I guess when the owner comes back in to take off, let's expect to hear the noise of the tricycle blazing in. And then, of course, people walking by. Now, if you've been listening to the last, excuse me, last two episodes that we produced, we've been looking at coming up with a content matrix, a plan, a content schedule, content calendar, an outline, a script, a guide, templates, whatever it is that you want to call it, for business owners who are struggling with sales and who are thinking about using content marketing strategies for 2024. So we're going to start looking at the um, bits of the things that you can include in your content matrix, and one of those things, educational posts, whether it's podcasts or blog posts or Instagram posts or TikTok posts or whatever it is that you produce, even stuff on LinkedIn. But the bottom line is that one class of things that we can do is to explore educational content. Now, before we go into some detail, I want to tackle the question on educational content versus entertaining content, which is better. Because there is that debate that yes, you can do educational content, but when you're trying to educate people over on the internet, you're not going to get a crowd. But then if you do stuff that is entertaining, you get the crowd, and you get some content virality. And yeah, sometimes when you get content virality, it's a good thing. It's a good feeling. It's a good buzz. Like when I put out stuff on TikTok, I think that was last year, and one of the stuff that I put out had 10,000 views. So it was really well over 10,000 views, and was quite an ego trip because TikTok is full of people that are dancing, twerking, let's see what else, doing all sorts of stuff, and so I figured that me putting out business content on a short form platform like TikTok at the time was short form. I think you could only do 1 minute or maybe 3 minute videos back then, but I think now it has been expanded to include text. So you can put text on TikTok right now. You can also do, I think, 10-minute videos on TikTok. So yeah, it was quite an ego boost to have stuff that I put out to do 10,000 views. So back to the question, educational versus entertaining content, which is better? Well, the answer is contextual. It depends on who you are, your talent, the business, the goals you have for the business, your comfort threshold, things like that. But the good news that I want to bring to you guys today is if you're not comfortable with dancing and pointing and lip syncing and all those sorts of things, you do not have to do that. Educational content is it's a viable option. It's a viable alternative. But yes, I'm going to agree that the more entertaining stuff you try to do, the more dancing you do, or the more you try to keep up with the um, trends, whatever the trends are on your social media platform, then yes, you're going to get more eyeballs on your stuff. But I guess what we ought to consider, especially for those of you who are doing entertaining content, is we have to consider, are we bringing in the right kind of audience? Because if you're trying to do educational content, then there are people who are there because they're trying to learn about you or the business or because they have certain kinds of problems they're trying to overcome, or they have a certain vision that they're trying to achieve, and the content that you're putting out there is useful. So you have people who are beginning a business relationship with you, and hopefully these people can be moved along in a buying cycle and eventually towards purchasing. But people who are coming for entertainment could be coming just for solely for the entertainment factor, and then of course sometimes there's some other things that now skew the mix even further. Okay, well, there's no way to put this in a politically correct way, so let me just come out and say it. So I was speaking to a group of Abuja businesswomen that was early on in the year, the first part of the year, I'll say before July. And so if you're interested, just scroll down the podcast episodes. We have over 730 episodes so far. You should be looking for Abuja. You should be looking for businesswomen. That's in the title. Either Abuja, let's see, businesswomen networking. Okay, female networking. Uh, yeah, I think. Yeah, female networking might be in the title too. I can't remember some of the keywords that I use. So you'll be able to come across the content the things that we spoke about I was with uh, while I was with the ladies at the time. So, um, so this question came up: educational content versus entertaining content, and one of the ladies there who was in the beauty space spoke about the huge stride that she had made with entertaining content. That is when it came to boosting her engagement and audience acquisition and things like that. But I was glad that she was rather honest as the session went on, that even though she had gotten hundreds and thousands of followers, they were not the kind of followers that she hoped to get. Now, this lady was, well, I say, visually appealing, let me put it that way. And of course, she's in the beauty space, so everything has to be on point and things like that. So while she's dancing and singing and stuff like that, even though she sells beauty products primarily to women and children, because she's in the beauty space. No, not beauty, skincare. So she's in the space, and then the people that she's trying to sell to are moms and kids. But then she's putting out all this kind of content that is attracting men and pubescent boys, if we can put it that way. And so hundreds of thousands of followers. She's trying to sell to moms and for moms to buy to kids, but then the people who are following her are men and pubescent boys. And of course, we know how that goes. You know, people who show up for that kind of content, you know, they don't care about skin routines. I mean, to say, anyway, but you catch my point. So you could be putting out entertaining content and you could be getting huge strides in engagement because people are engaging in your post and you're getting hundreds and thousands of followers, but then those are not the kind of people that you want to get on your channel. So if you're in the skincare space, putting out educational content on different kinds of skin, different kinds of skincare routines, how to take care of children, how to take care of abrasions, how do you deal with allergies, what is the benefit of shea butter based skincare routines over palm oil based skincare routines, how do you take care of your skin during Hamatan, you know, stuff like that. So all those boring educational posts are not going to bring in the crowds at all. They won't give you hundreds and thousands of followers. But at the end of the day, if you're in the beauty and in the skincare space, might it not make more sense? I mean, that is my suggestion, but of course, you can run your business the way that you want to. Might it not make more sense to put out that boring educational content and have maybe 200 people follow you every month or whatever, but then the 200 people that follow you every month, let's say 80% of them are the kind of people that you want to be buying up from you, and so you have a better chance of engaging with them in WhatsApp messaging or email or SMS or whatever, and you stand a greater chance of getting some business out of that rather than having hundreds and thousands or tens of thousands of people follow you, and then 80% of them are made up of people who might never buy from you, who might never even considering buying from you. So these are things that we ought to consider. But of course, I brought to the attention of the ladies an interesting experiment. Okay, well, not an experiment. Well, it was an interesting experience for me anyway, because I mentioned that I try putting out stuff on TikTok. I don't do that anymore. Well, it's nice to be everywhere, but to be honest, I think I'm much more comfortable with LinkedIn, and I get the kind of podcast growth and business growth. Um, I get more satisfaction out of LinkedIn for now, so that's why I'm spending most of my efforts. But while I was there, I noticed that there was this lady who was putting out entertaining content. She was I can't remember her name. I think it was Becky or Becca or something like that, and she's not Nigerian. And so you know the usual slim hippie bomb shorts. The usual challenges. Chris Rock. There was this Chris Rock. Sorry, not Chris Rock. What's his name? Chris Chris Brown. Yeah, the musician. There was a Chris Brown challenge. This song about. I think the song was about. I thought the song was about a woman, but my wife listened to the lyrics and said that the song was actually about drugs, psychotropics, or psycho. I mean, you get the point. Stuff that you take to get high. So she would do all these challenges and stuff like that, and she had lots of followers. And I would look at these videos and I kept wondering that she's here, she's dancing every day, but what's the whole point? Because I find it hard to believe that someone would just show up every day and dance every day and take advantage of trends every day. And I just kept wondering, there must be some angle, there must be some angle. Until I started hanging out in the comments underneath the videos, and then it clicked. This lady puts up the videos, she's dancing provocatively and things like that. And then it occurred to me that she's always dancing against the plain background, and in the background, what you have are boxes of shoes. So it turns out that she sells sneakers to sneakerheads. She sells sneakers, kit, footwear basically. That's what she's into. And sneakerheads, people who like kicks, those sorts of things. Like that's the crowd. So then it kind of made sense that okay, for the kind of things that she sells, and I guess she's been able to find a way to make it work. And from the content that I saw on her TikTok, it looks like she charges a premium to have the shoes delivered. So she is a sorry about that. The call was coming in. So, she's been doing this for a while, so she's now sort of like an online celebrity. So, let's say you want to buy the latest Adidas Kanye West. Okay, no, Kanye West is no longer with Adidas. Okay, let's say Michael Jordan. Okay, let's say Michael Jordan is still doing the Nike thing. So, you buy the latest Michael Jordans or Air Force One. Okay, well, Air Force Ones are. Anyway, you get the point. I'm not really a shoe person, but whatever the reigning shoe is, so you want it, you place the order through her. She can show up and deliver the shoes to your house, to your office, whatever. Produce a video, and stuff like that, and so people would get to pay extra for the experience of having this lady. I can't remember her name, whether it was Becca or Becky or something. So you'll pay more for the experience of having this lady come to deliver the shoes, because she's an online celebrity, and she produces what's it called? Is it called thirst content? My stepsister, I think I'm about 13 years older than her. Well, I think she said it's thirst videos or trap videos or something. Anyway, it shows that I'm out of touch. But bottom line, you get the whole idea. So for her business model, for her skill set, for the kind of business that she's trying to build, it makes sense to take advantage of all these challenges, dress seductively, dance seductively, because she's selling shoes to young men. And if you dance like that, you get the eyeballs. You have some mystery, some allure, stuff like that. And so somebody places an order to buy shoes, maybe $1,000, $2,000, whatever. But because of who you are, they don't mind paying an extra, who knows, maybe 5 grand just to have you deliver the shoes. And then you take the selfie, you take the video, and you're able to say that, oh, Becky came to my house or whatever. Anyway, so that's how she has been able to make it work for her context. So I'm not trying to say that entertaining content is not going to work, but I think producing entertaining content and trying to get business result out of that, I think is too much work for the average person, like you or I, who just want to show up, deliver a quality product or a quality service, and then get paid what we're worth at the end of the day. So, summary: is content virality a worthy goal? I really don't think so, especially if the viral content that you're putting out is not going to give you the kind of audience that is going to move the needle forward in your business. Now, if you're Becca or Becky, you figured out how to make these kind of things work for your business, that's absolutely fantastic. Um, but you have to admit, for someone like me, I'm in my 40s, I'm a big dude. Yeah, I'm reasonably good looking, but to try and make all these things work for the kind of service that I provide, which is sales coaching and business consulting, I really don't think I can. To make entertaining content work for that angle, I I don't know. Maybe I lack creativity to see how I can make it work, but for people in my situation, I think it's quite a stretch. And so for the Abuja businesswoman that I was speaking to, I was able to convince some of them that really all this pointing, dancing, all of that, engaging, using CapCut to create high pitched, not high pitched, high paced slides and things like that, matching to the music. Like, well, it's good, it's entertaining, but I was able to convince them that for a lot of the businesses that the women were involved in, then trying to make entertaining content work for that kind of business would be a struggle. Now, another thing to consider, which is easier to produce, that's back on this whole entertaining versus educational content. Entertaining content is much, much, much harder to produce. So let's go back to Becky. First of all, you have to film the video, and then you have to be sure that while you are dancing, it was in sync. And then you don't get that right, you have to redo it again. If you don't get that right, then you have to get an app that is going to be able to sync the music to the dancing. Then you also have to be able to. Hold on. Then you also have to be able to. Oh, sorry about that. I was saying hello to someone walking by. Then you also have to be able to. Okay, so we've spoken about the challenge of syncing the video, filming it right, making sure that the lighting is right, and then, well, you also have to be able to select the right kind of song, which trend is really trending right now that you can take advantage of. Um, so you get the point. The level of pre-production and post-production that you have to do to create entertaining content is really, really high. But for educational content like what I'm doing right now, I can just whip out my keyboard, get a laptop, get your phone, whatever, and then type out the blog post. And then for the podcast, it's also relatively straightforward. Just set up your, for those of you who record into your microphone, sorry, who record into your laptop, hook up the laptop and hit record, get going. For people like me who record into the phone, just whip out your phone, start recording. Educational content requires less in pre and post production, so it's a lot easier to produce. Now, like more things in life, it is not an either or. Things are not mutually exclusive. They can be a hybrid. And the hybrid is what some people call infotainment. So you're producing educational content, you're trying to put some information there, but with some entertaining gimmicks behind it. So I've seen some sales trainers try to do that, for instance. So, um, okay, okay, people in the infomercial spaces, people who have online training and things like that. So they're the ones who do those pointing videos, like 10 things you need to know about your business. And then you point here, and then the caption comes up. You point here, another caption comes, so they're pointing, but the things that they're pointing to has information that people need to know. And maybe as they're pointing, they're talking or pointing and dancing and things like that. So there is a hybrid. But anyway, those are just my own personal opinions about educational versus entertaining content. I really think we should be pushing educational content. So I'm going to focus the rest of my effort, not just on this podcast episode, but future podcast episodes to see how we can make that happen, to make that a viable part of our content matrix, our content plan, our content schedule, our content outline, our content calendar, our content, whatever it is that we want to call it. That's to guide our efforts for making content marketing a part of our business strategy for 2024. So, in the next podcast episode, because we're close to 20 minutes, I'm going to tackle the question what we should be educating our potential customers about. So, that's going to be the next episode. What should we be educating potential customers about? And before I round off, I want to make sure that I stress something again that I've stressed for the last two podcast episodes, and I want to stress one more time right now. We need to have realistic expectations around content and content marketing to boost our sales. When it comes to content marketing, especially long form content, if you're going to do long form posts, long form podcasts, and things like that, the expectations to have are much more long term expectations, because you're not going to produce content in January and then start seeing profits in March or May or April. That's not how it works. There are some people who are able to see those kinds of results, but that is not typical. So, if you're using content to boost the sales, typically it's a medium to long term play. Expect to see results after months, sometimes after a year or more. So let's have realistic expectations, because some people start in January, they don't see any results in February of 2024, and then they say this thing doesn't work, and so in March they kill it, they stop it, but you haven't given it enough time to work. So if you're going to do the educational thing, it needs time. Even if you're going to do the entertainment thing, it needs time. Think back to the Abuja businesswoman that I was spending time with, the lady in the skincare routine. The reason why she was able to figure out that this thing was not working for her is because she was doing months of entertaining and then looking at the stats and finding out that the wrong people were coming into the mix. And then she's going to be able to pivot and decide what are we going to do next? How are we going to tweak what it is that we are putting out? So give yourself time. In the meantime, while you're putting out the content, you should be listening to podcasts such as this and other podcasts around business and sales and things like that, because you should be learning about conversion skills in the meantime. Now, conversion is the ability to take all this engagement, all these eyeballs, and then make them become paying customers, because it is a skill in itself. Because you have 10,000 people following you every single month from the education you put out or for the entertainment you put out, doesn't mean you're going to be able to get 10,000 customers from that. So it's a skill set to be able to take 5 people who walk into your store and get them to buy, or 10,000 people who come to your Instagram and get them to buy. So we should also be learning about conversion skills. So that's all for today, folks. Remember that the next episode we're going to be looking at what kind of things we should be talking about in our educational content. So that's all for today. Connect with me on WhatsApp on 080-6466-2140. The country code is +234. That's for those of you who are hitting me up from outside the shores of Nigeria. And then connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm the host of the show. My name is Tavishima Ayede. You can confirm the spelling of my name and email address on the website where you're listening to this episode and the profile of the podcast app where you're currently listening to my voice. So thanks for your time and attention. I'll catch you guys at the next episode.